To solve some of the most confusing scientific questions, you may need to go to some very far regions, such as the core of the human brain, mountain summits, and maybe the end of time. Science can help a chaotic world become more orderly, which is a beautiful thing. Although some of these leading questions are frequently shocking and confusing by nature, in this video we will explain the top 10 most disturbing discoveries that scientists have yet to explain. The WOW indication. The WOW signal was seen for about 37 seconds and came from outer space. On August 15, 1977, astronomer Jerry Eichmann, who was working at Ohio State University in Columbus at the time, scrawled WOW on a printout from Big Ear, Ohio State's radio telescope in Delaware. Nobody knows what triggered this signal to this day. Scientists are still looking for an explanation for this signal. Sagittarius's radiation pulse was limited to a small spectrum of radio frequencies at 1400 MHz. This frequency is in an area of the radio spectrum where all transmissions are prohibited internationally. Natural sources of radiation, particularly thermal emissions from planetary systems, often cover a much greater frequency range. So what caused it? It takes about 220 light years to reach the nearest star in that direction. Even if it came from that direction, it has to be a massive celestial event or an intelligent alien civilization using an incredibly powerful transmitter. There is also the potential that aliens are present, even though thousands of observations in the same area of the sky yielded no results resembling the WOW signal. To put it mildly, the chances of finding the signal again are so low, considering that the Big Ear telescope can only see a millionth of the sky at a time, and that the alien transmitter would most likely broadcast over the same portion of the sky. Some believe there must be a standard explanation. Some believe the WOW signal was created by pollution, such as electromagnetic interference from Earth-based communications. Some similar to the WOW have regularly emerged and have always been ruled out as interference. Well, the discussion continues. The Earth is not the center of the cosmos. We're still not adjusted to this truth after more than 400 years. It's still somewhat unnerving. Everyone can see that the sun rises in the east, moves across the sky, and sets in the west, but the Earth appears to be stationary and unchanging. When Copernicus stated that the Earth and other planets orbit the sun rather than the other way around, his contemporaries thought he was insane. This statement took a few generations to take in. Only a few of his contemporaries believed that this was an accurate depiction of the universe. Galileo faced more criticism for his theory than Copernicus. Some of his contemporaries refused to look through the telescope when it revealed craters on a supposedly perfectly spherical moon, and other moons orbiting Jupiter that he used to prove heliocentric theory. Galileo defied the Catholic Church, which was more dangerous than going against common reason. Despite Scripture's claims to the contrary, the Holy Office of the Inquisition pronounced Galileo guilty of heresy for disputing that the sun orbits the Earth. The germs are catching up to us. Yes, we know that vaccines and antibiotics have saved thousands of millions of lives, and without these modern medical wonders, more than half of the world would have died as children from diseases such as polio, smallpox, and measles. However, certain germs evolve faster than humans can build countermeasures. Because the influenza virus develops so swiftly, a previous year's vaccination usually does not affect the current strain in any way. Antibiotic-resistant Staphylococcus germs are an issue in hospitals because they may turn minor injuries into potentially fatal infections. New infections such as hantavirus from rodents, Ebola from apes, SARS from masked palm civets, bird flu from birds, and swine flu from pigs continue to emerge and spread from animals to humans. Tuberculosis is on the rise again due to the bacterium's multi-drug resistance. You can still die from consumption in the 21st century. Mass extinctions have occurred in the past, and one is most likely occurring. There have been 5 occasions in Earth's history when mass extinctions wiped off most or all of the species, due to factors such as atmospheric shifts, volcanic eruptions, and asteroid impacts, to name a few. It took some time for the concept of extinction to sink in. Many biologists believe we are living through the 6th mass extinction. Mastodons could have been among the first victims. As people traverse continents, large species that had endured for millions of years began to die extinct. Mastodons in North America, massive Australian kangaroos, and European dwarf elephants. Regardless of the cause of the first wave of extinctions, humans are to blame for the current one due to hunting, habitat degradation, the introduction of new species, and uncontrolled disease spread. We are all apes. When you think about it, it's almost unbelievable. If you're stunned by the immensity of the geological past or fascinated by the diversity of life on Earth, Charles Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection might be motivating. We are supposed to be unique because of our ability to understand and interpret nature, but humans have discovered that we're essentially a modern version of the monkey body design. We may be more capable of abstract reasoning than chimps, but we lack gorilla strength, orangutan capacity to climb trees, and bonobo kindness. Initially a creationist, Charles Darwin only progressively realized the importance of the variation he observed on his trips on the Beagle. Since the publication of On the Origin of Species more than 150 years ago, disputes about evolution have raged on. Everything we now know about genetics, biology, paleontology, geology, chemistry, and physics verifies his significant finding. However, his theory contradicts every culture's Genesis myth and isn't particularly logical. Human activity has already altered the climate for the rest of this century. Climate change is simple to understand. When humans burn fossil fuels, carbon dioxide is a byproduct of this burning. The carbon dioxide then rises into the atmosphere, retaining heat and heating the planet's surface. As a result of global warming, glaciers are melting faster than they have ever been. Flowers are blooming prematurely, and plants and animals are relocating to harsher climates and elevations to stay cold. The fact that carbon dioxide remains in the atmosphere for a long time is much more concerning. The consequences of human-caused climate change are only now becoming apparent, and the future is likely to range from dreadful to devastating. The universe is made up of imaginable stuff. Planets, stars, galaxies, black holes, and dust. Everything you can imagine when you think of the universe account for barely 4% of what exists. The remainder of the Earth has two types of unidentifiable substances: dark energy, 73% of the universe, and dark matter, 23%. While scientists are mainly unaware of dark energy, they do have some speculations about the unusual and theoretical particles that comprise dark matter. Dark energy is the most unfathomable mystery in all of physics, according to experts. The quest for its solution has motivated a new generation of astronomers to engage in a physics and cosmology revolution that matches, if not outpaces, the one from Galileo many years ago. We are now questioning, perhaps for the first time, what is this universe we call home, all because of dark energy? Scientists are aware, however, that the cosmos is expanding because of these dark substances. Furthermore, the expansion is accelerating. At some time, everything in the universe will begin to drift until everything is eventually cold and void. It will be a peaceful end to the world. What inhabits the ocean's twilight zone? The deeper you dive into the ocean, the amount of sunlight decreases, and you start to descend into the twilight area of the sea at around 200 meters below the surface. As the sun fades from view, so does our knowledge of these foreboding depths. Understanding it based on what we don't know is far easier than defining it based on what we do. However, this oceanic region is very significant. The species of the Black Ocean play a crucial role in climate regulation, and it's suspected, though not proved, that there is considerably more fish living there than in the rest of the ocean. The Baghdad Battery. Whenever you hear the word electricity, I'm sure you remembered a school lesson about Benjamin Franklin, a metal key, and a kite. Franklin made his significant discovery in 1752. The discovery of the Baghdad batteries, on the other hand, presents the chance for even more astonishing scientific breakthroughs made over 2,000 years ago. These clay jars, discovered in 1936 and believed to have been constructed in the Mesopotamian region, contain galvanized iron nails, coated in copper sheeting. Some scientists believe a highly acidic substance was used to generate an electric charge within the jar. If these artifacts are correct, Alessandro Volta's invention of the electrochemical cell would have occurred more than 2 generations earlier. Archaeologists dispute whether the items were used as batteries, and because there is no historical documentation from that period, it is uncertain what was done with the resulting electrical current. Although this has yet to be verified, some suspect that the batteries were used for electroplating things. However, the batteries would theoretically perform as designed. The replica samples of the batteries have been tested at least twice in trials, including at the Mythbusters show. Both tests revealed that when filled with an acidic solution, the batteries can generate electric energy. However, it is currently unknown what purpose these artifacts serve. The placebo effect. Try not to do this at home. If you inflict agony on a person for a given period each day and continue to administer morphine to help the person manage the pain until the end of the experiment, a saline solution is given instead of morphine. This is where things start to get weird. The person quickly experiences pain relief. How can saline solution relieve pain when morphine does not? Your brain has higher therapeutic potential than any other drug. At the very least, some drugs. Even if a pill is entirely made of sugar, it will still work for as long as you expect it to work. When it comes to understanding how the brain works, scientists have just scratched the surface of what it can do. The placebo effect describes how a lot of nothing can unexpectedly have a lot of power, but it's not wholly insignificant. To confuse matters even further, Fabrizio Benedetti of the University of Turin in Italy added naloxone, a drug that blocks the effects of morphine, with the saline. What was the unexpected result? The capacity of the saline solution to relieve discomfort evaporated. So what's going on? The discovery of naloxone appears to show that the placebo effect is biological in some way. For decades, doctors have been aware of the placebo effect. I don't believe there is any rational explanation for the placebo effect that isn't already known, but we're at a loss for words beyond that. And that brings us to the end of this video. What do you think about these scientific discoveries? Let us know in the comments section. Remember to like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell to get notified when we post a new video.